Major League Soccer, it starts here. The end product is the World Cup. The end product is MLS Cups, but it begins here. Man, oh man, does this kid live up to the hype.
A second cross floating in, Serrano! Seattle Sounders with the goal!
These 15-year-olds, these 16 and 17-year-olds, to go through tournaments like this, the adversity they face. Because every single one of these players has the ability to play for your first team. Remember this when your first team lifts MLS Cups in the future.
The lights are on at Toyota Stadium for the final of the U15 2022 Generation Adidas Cup Final. An international affair as the Portland Timbers of Major League Soccer face off against the Giants out of La Liga of Valencia. Hi everybody, I'm David Goss with former FC Dallas player himself, Bobby Warshaw. And Bobby, you played on this field, under these lights, in this environment, but you were a pro. What does it mean? What type of moment is it for these young players?
It's just an incredible experience, David, and they'll naturally feel nervous. They'll feel the pressure, but hopefully at some point in this game, and certainly after, they'll feel the joy. It's a memory they'll have for the rest of their lives, and they deserve it. All the hard work they put in, the performances this week, they absolutely deserve this opportunity to play in this stadium on this broadcast.
We've had an incredible week, and let's take a look at our starting lineups for these two teams, and a lot of familiar faces for the Portland Timbers as this run has gone along.
Yeah, David, we expect this group to come out in a 4-3-3 and then defend in more of a 4-4-2, and I'll keep my eye on the defenders. Eli White, Matt Shimke in center back, and of course the goalkeeper, Keenan Van Pelt, has been so good this tournament.
And for our star spotlight, who else? The leading scorer, Noah Santos. He doesn't need a lot of support. He can get it done by himself.
He's been special, and he's so dynamic in the dribble. If he can pick up his head and run into space and take defenders on, he can make something happen in just a split second, and he always gives the Timbers a chance to score.
And he is going to have a big night as he goes up against this Valencia team. As we take a look at this Valencia starting lineup, Bobby, they have been incredible over the knockout round.
Yeah, this will be a 4-4-2 defensively, but when they get into possession, look for number 15, Diego Garcia, to play off number 18, Rafael Heel.
And the star player in the middle of the park for them will be this young man, Pau Dominic. Maybe the goal of the tournament, a 35-yard rocket that snuck under the crossbar to close things out against Atlanta United yesterday in the semifinals to get Valencia to this point. Valencia in their red kits and black shorts going left to right to start this game out. The Portland Timbers in their white kits and their green shorts going right to left, looking to win their first ever Generation Adidas Cup at any age group. These young players have had a special run, but their head coach Fernando Pessoa wants it to continue on as we are kicked off here for the final of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup U15 level. David Goss and Bobby Warshaw with you here in the booth. We've got our sideline reporter down there as well, and Kelly Glendenning, who we'll get to in a moment. Bobby, what is the key to the start here for these two teams?
Well, the first part is for the Timbers to not think about the brand across from them, to not think about the fact that they're playing one of the biggest names in world football, and to just play their own game. They've surprised this entire tournament.
And Noah Santos immediately trying to carry his team forward, surrounded by red jerseys. Santos, 5 goals on the tournament, and his cross is blocked. Second chance coming now as Carter picks it up. Grayson Carter, the opening goal against the Red Bulls in the quarterfinals to get Portland to this level. Big tackle made there for Siempre. And this is one of the danger men for Valencia. David Otorbi, number 7. He can stretch the game anytime he touches the ball. And Otorbi now on the ball once again. Pushes it wide for Moya. The cross played in, it bounces. Perez, 1v1, he gets the shot away and it goes wide.
And if you're the Timbers, David, you do not want the game this stretched early on. You want to stay as compact as possible. You want to keep Valencia in front of you as much as possible, because if they have space, this is what's going to happen. Torby's going to run at you. They're going to get it wide, and they're going to get numbers in the box.
Talk about the ability to play against this press of Valencia, one of the big youth developers in the world. Of course, David Silva coming through their ranks, a number of Spanish internationals and big-time players that they've produced. And Bobby, this Valencia side, they've maybe been the most professional-looking U15 team we've ever seen.
Absolutely. They have talent. We've already talked about Domenech and Heel and Torby. But their defensive solidity, David, has been so impressive. When they're in that 4-4-2, they can either press or they can sit. They can make it physical or they can sit and wait and be smart.
For a little bit more on the Portland Timbers coming into this game, let's go down to the sidelines to Kelly Glendenning.
When I spoke with Portland head coach Fernando Pessoa during warmups, I asked him how he wants his group to approach this first half. And he said, you know, this final, it brings a different kind of excitement. They want to engage with what we have to do, get used to the space. This is a team that we haven't seen before. We've only seen them on video. We'll need to settle in and get used to their setup.
Thanks so much, Kelly. She'll be down on the sideline for us all game, getting us all big info from these teams. Reminder, 35-minute halves for these teams here at the GA Cup final. If we are tied at that point, we will head to 2 5-minute extra time periods. And if that still stands at a tie, we will go to something these Timbers have become very familiar with, and that would be a penalty kick shootout. It would be their 4th of the tournament, as we had PK shootouts to break ties in the group stage.
David, this picture we're seeing now is one that I expect to see a lot over the next 70 minutes. The Portland Timbers in their 4-4-1-1 mid-block, again, trying to keep Valencia from going through them or behind them.
Torby now against Jesus Garcia. Garcia taking over as the starter in the last game at left back. Bobby, we saw his physicality, but also his ability on the ball to help Portland build out of the back.
Yeah, and that'll be vital to this Portland team, even when they're under pressure. Even against this Valencia side pressuring them, can they keep their composure? Can they connect passes forward so that it's not just lumpy and 1v1s for Noah Santos to do his best with?
And it was Nolan Beck who came off the bench in place of Garcia, who had the assist in the 63rd minute in that semifinal against LAFC to equalize and send it to penalty kicks. But Bobby, Portland Timbers, they gave up the goal in the 2nd minute in that game, and then they were fantastic. They responded better, and that's where I think you see confidence from Fernando Pessoa, that he knows his team can react to tough situations like playing in this big stadium on this stage.
The mental resilience from this team throughout the tournament has been outstanding.
Noah Santos has led that way, and he's looking to do it again. Moya recovers. Santos battling with him, and Moya clears it away.
David, we came into this event with our own thoughts on who the teams to watch were, with the other coaches' thoughts on the teams to watch.
Zodia looking to sneak it through for Santos.
And we did not hear about this Portland Timbers U15 team. But you know what? The Timbers knew that nobody was talking about them. They knew that they would be the underdog. They knew that they would have the back against the wall, and they stepped up. That's exactly where they wanted to live. They were perfectly fine coming into this tournament and surprising people. At no point did they doubt themselves. They were confident. They had conviction in the way they could play, and we can see it in moments like this.
Carter through ball now for Lugton. Lugton gets there a half step later, but he earns his team a corner kick. And Bobby, this front 3 or 4, they can attack by themselves. They don't need that full team support.
It's so vertical. Every time they pick it up, there are runners to the depth. They want to hit you right away as fast and as quickly as possible.
We saw them out direct, out vertical the Red Bulls in the quarterfinals. That's how dangerous they can be. It was Grayson Carter with the opener in that game, as Azodia floats this one in, and it's taken cleanly by Pedro Garcia.
And thank you to everyone joining on the Twitch and the YouTube streams. We're in the chat We want to hear what you have to say, your thoughts, your questions, your observations, your jokes, your sauce ratings. Bring it all. We're here. We appreciate you.
And Amin NYC says, I didn't have a favorite in the U15s until I watched this Timbers side and the way they fight and the way they play. And I think we're both in agreement. You talked about it, the heart, the character of their team. And I think the leadership of Fernando Pessoa, it's been so impressive to watch him interact with this team and talk with us.
Absolutely. They're a team for the neutrals. If you didn't have a group that you were supporting coming in and you watch this Timbers U15 group, you can't help but want to cheer for them.
Moya gets to the end line, tries to put the moves on Garcia. Jesus Garcia recovers. Izodia here on the ball, the number 10. He had 2 assists in the quarterfinals against the Red Bulls. Came off the bench in the semifinals. Bobby dealing with some blisters. 6 games in 7 days leading into that point. You can understand why.
Dude, how much grit do you have to deal with blisters? Anybody that's ever has had them knows, man.
As Zamudia blasts that one into the crowd. Emiliano Zamudia. He had the winning penalty kick in the 5th round in the semifinals to get this team to this stage. Bobby, and he took it so calmly. We're talking about a 14-year-old player who stepped up and just hammered it home. Shout out to all of you on Twitch. Jay with the RL says, how effective do you reckon the long ball will be today? It's a bigger field, I contend. We still don't have the numbers, which we apologize for. But you can see the distance that's out there, Bobby. And when this Valencia team's press you, you can either play through it or over it, and that's really going to be the Timbers' decision.
I like the question, but I'll challenge the premise, because I wouldn't say what the Timbers do are long balls. Because if you're playing in transition, and here we can see on the big shot that Valencia is stretched, right? They've got players wide, both the outside backs and the wingers. There's tons of space for Noah Santos to drive into, so I wouldn't call them long balls. If you have the room in transition and you play vertical, that's an intentional, crafty pass that you're making, not just a lump forward.
This shot comes over the top. And Bobby, but this game has played out different than we saw for Valencia against Atlanta in the semifinals and RSL in the quarterfinals. Those 2 games, Valencia was high up the field, pressing everything, and the opponents couldn't breathe for most of, if not all, the first half. It hasn't felt that way.
No, the Timbers have done a nice job of taking the sting out of the first 10 minutes. They haven't necessarily been in control, but they've calmed down and slowed down this Valencia press and high-paced attack. David, I also noticed that you left a word out of that question. You don't like being a lad?
Well, I don't consider myself one yet. I don't have that badge of honor.
You are definitely.
Do you consider me one of yours?
You are definitely not a lad.
No. Zamudio now striding forward, taken back. The tackle by Sempre. Sempre, the number 6 in midfield, and Adrian Moninho were both suspended for the semifinal for this Valencia side. Moninho, the right center back on the ball here. It was his stoppage time equalizer against RSL that rescued Valencia and got them to this stage. Atorbi now, one-on-one with Moya. Atorbi to the end line, cross played in, knocked up in the air and cleared away. And who else but Andrew Brommert covering ground from that defensive midfield spot again for the Timbers.
Again, we see how good Atorbi is on this right side with the combination first and then running at the defender with speed. Tries to get the ball across the goal, but Brommert doing just what he's supposed to, tracking the run, getting to a good spot, and a solid clearance out of the middle.
Brommert's been the guy who's covered ground all tournament at the base of that midfield. He was the first name, Bobby, when we spoke to Fernando Pessoa, that he pointed out in this team, even with all the wingers in this team, all the goal scorers, he said Brommert is our key for what he can do in that spot.
And David, as Valencia continue their progression phase sequences here, which is when they have the ball approaching midfield against a set Portland block, I'm going to keep my eye on Brobert in the middle, sitting in front of center backs Eli White and Max Shimke. Because in the last 90 seconds, the last two sequences, we've seen Shimke and White drop deeper. One of the hard parts is when you're under pressure, can you stay brave and stay high? Keep the field squeezed. Don't drop off and allow space in front of you. The more they can stay brave, stay compact, they'll make it hard on Valencia to pass through the lines.
So the foul called against Valencia by our head referee, Abdu Njay. And it'll be the free kick now to restart play for the Timbers. Bromert now, the base of the midfield, looking for the ball over the top. It's cleared away. Valencia immediately on the attack. Atorbi coming inside. Looking to sneak that through ball into the path of Diego Garcia. And it's cleared away. Moya now one-on-one, and Carter not backing down to that battle. We saw Moya start at winger in the quarterfinals, move to the right back spot because of those suspensions, and remain there, Bobby, which shows the attacking intent for this Valencia side. Bobby, one of the conversations we've had all week is the style and the demeanor of the coaches on these teams. And for Fernando Pessoa, we talked about calm confidence. On the flip side, Francisco Sarrion, the coach of Valencia, he is up talking the entire game every single second.
And one of the cliches that I truly believe is true in this sport is that a team takes on the personality.
Atorbi with the shot, and it'll go over the crossbar.
A team takes on the personality of their head coach, and it's really on display here today. The Timbers head coach, calm, patient, willing to work through the good and the bad, whereas the Valencia head coach, always out, always aggressive, always urging his team on, and we see it just in this play here. Valencia pressing the next person, the next person.
This is where Valencia has created chaos in this tournament with their press. RSL couldn't get out a single time in the first half. They hung on to keep it 0-0 going into halftime. RSL made a couple changes for their head coach, Andrew May, bringing in a couple new pieces. Got a goal midway through the second half, and looked like Valencia was knocked out until that stoppage time equalizer off the set piece. In the second game, Atlanta United the same, under pressure. Dylan Greiner, a man of the match performance in goal just to keep Atlanta United in it. Zach Harold gave the confidence to his team in the halftime to try and play through, and Atlanta was just never capable of doing it. The Timbers looking it up the sideline, and they'll earn a free kick. And Bobby, everyone knows Bobby Warshaw. You've got your checklist to win at a tournament, but especially at this GA Cup. Every team needs to have three things. What are they? And do you see them out there on the field for especially the Portland Timbers?
First, I appreciate you recognize I'm a big checklist guy. Always. David, those three things are, first, defensive solidity. Are you focused? Are you disciplined? Does your shape make it hard for the opposition to break you down? Number two is, behind that defensive solidity, do you have an informed goalkeeper? And then third,
chance coming there for Domenech is blocked. Atorbi, and he has it go off his hand.
And number three, do you have difference makers in the attack? Do you have players that when you can't get on the ball, or when you're struggling to find your rhythm, they can make something happen in a split second? And if we look at these teams, David, knowing what those three are, defensive solidity, an informed goalkeeper, and difference makers, how do we feel they break out, and who has the advantage in each one, starting with the defensive solidity?
I'd say for the Portland Timbers, they're a team that likes to sit in. They are comfortable with their defensive shape, so I'd say the advantage to the Timbers.
I agree with that. On the goalkeepers, we saw what Kareem Van Pelt for the Timbers can do yesterday. For Keenan Van Pelt, excuse me. And he was so good. But on the other side, Pedro Garcia for Valencia, 4 shutouts in 6 games. And I have to give him the edge. for Valencia on the goalkeeping, which brings us to the third one, the difference makers. Which team do we feel more comfortable as a player that can break it open by himself?
I'll give you the argument for the Timbers. This young man, Eric Azodia, has been an Elite 10, and Noah Santos right now on 5 goals in the tournament is sitting 2 off the Golden Boot win.
Love both those points. On the other side, the argument would be that we've already seen what number 10 Pal Dominic can do. The goal against Atlanta United was as good as you've ever seen, and that doesn't even bring in Marcus Perez on the left and David Atorbi on the right. But I also like the point you made that that's why we're here in a final. We can talk subjectively about who has more talent, but that is why we're here in the big stadium, to see which players rise to the occasion. If there's been one truth, the 2022 GA Cup, it's that players have stepped up when the lights were on.
It has been such a fun tournament to watch, so impressive. The U15 level, this was our first time ever with a fully built-out U15 tournament. All the MLS clubs here, as well as these hosts of international teams. We've had FC Porto, Manchester United, a number of Liga MX clubs. It's been really impressive to watch at the U15 level. This considered a key age in the pro player pathway. As Moya's cross driven to the far post, it's knocked up. This young man, Marcos Perez, had the opener yesterday against Atlanta United. Probably was a rebound off a shot to the far post, but he was the quickest to react.
Yeah. And David, as we take a look at this Timbers defense, again, the attackers are at midfield. Look how much farther back the center backs are. That's almost 40 yards front to back. When you think about this shape, you want to be 25 center backs to strikers again.
Perez floats it to the far post. What a touch from Eli White.
And we can talk tactics, but it comes down to duels in the box. What happens in the 18? Yes, there are tactical parts that Timbers need to clean up, but regardless of what happens, you need your center backs to make plays, and Eli White does it. Maybe the hardest play a center back has to make, dealing with the run off the back post to the far post.
Dominic now to drive in this corner kick. Clip to the far post. Headed away initially by Brommert.
And the space is on.
And lugged in now up the line for Carter. The Timbers now going to move in transition. And now they'll reset themselves. And Bobby, when you asked about those difference makers, Callum Lugden and Grayson Carter, their 1v1 ability has been that as well for the Timbers. They've both scored big goals in big moments. Moya now attacking the space down the right wing. Moya with some time pulls it back. The shot is blocked and cleared away by Shimke.
You need your center backs to make plays in the box. First it was Eli White. This time it's Max Shimke.
And Moya, the attacking right back, going to work again. He gets by Garcia, and his shot is saved by Van Pelt.
When we've watched this Valencia team play, we talk about the waterfall effect. Here we see again the right back, Romeo Moya, coming forward. Valencia make you feel like you're under a waterfall. It keeps coming and it keeps coming and it keeps coming. The pressure, the counter pressure, the attacks. Atlanta could not find their heads above that waterfall. RSL 2 games ago could. They found a goal. They took the lead. They pushed it to PKs. We see Portland under the water right now. What adjustment can they make from the coaching staff, from the players, to get up from it?
Portland Timbers here. And their white kits with their green shorts going right to left to open things up at Toyota Stadium. Our first game here in the MLS Stadium for these young players. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at such a young age. Timbers led by Keenan Van Pelt in goal. A four-man backline from left to right of Jesus Garcia, Eli White, Max Shimke, and Kai Carlson. The two holding midfielders, and Andrew Brommett and Emiliano Zamudio. The attacking number 10 on this team, number 75, Eric Izodia, who's been phenomenal. And the front attacking three from left to right of Grayson Carter, Noah Santos, and Callum Lugden. Every player has had a game-winning moment in this tournament. Whether it's a save, a goal line clearance, an assist, or a goal themselves, it has been a communal group experience.
David, everyone in the chat talking about this right side of Valencia. Moya, the right back, 14. Number 7, David Atorbi, the winger. I like this work cold. That feels right, man.
Pedro Garcia in goal for Valencia. A 4-4-2 for them. Right back, as you mentioned, Moya. Adrian Moninho and Carlos Torres are the two center backs. Ruben Morales at left back. The number 6 back in the team, Ruben Sempre. Coming off the suspension, partnering Pau Domenech in central midfield. Marcos Perez on the left, David Atorbi on the right, and the two center forwards. The big number 15, Diego Garcia, and number 18, Rafael Gil for these two teams. 13 minutes left to play in this first half. 0-0 right now. Bobby, I think you'd have to say the game's gone as we've expected. Valencia pushing numbers higher, creating more chances, but Portland so dangerous anytime they break.
Yeah, it feels like a scenario, David, where both teams at the 20-minute mark say, we're feeling good about this. They're comfortable with the situation. They followed their game plan. They've executed. The Timbers always knew that Valencia would bring it to them in the first 20 minutes.
And for more on the Portland Timbers, let's go down to our sideline reporter, Kelly Glendenning.
I'm down here right to the right of the Portland bench, and Fernando Pessoa, head coach, is standing up a bit more than usual, giving more direction to his team. Recently, he's been really emphasizing simplicity. Let's not go too early. Let's move the ball more in transition and get moving forward.
Thanks so much, Kelly. A free kick coming here for Valencia as Zamudio down with that injury, and the trainers will come out. And Bobby, similar to what you said for the Timbers, they've come out, they've handled the opponent. Now you need to grow into this game.
You do, and this is one of those small moments where Emiliano Zamudio takes the foul, David, but one trend we've seen is that when a team clearly has the momentum, when they are getting on the ball, we don't see a foul for 15 or 20 minutes, and we've talked multiple times about the Jesse Marsch video from his time at Salzburg in the Champions League game against Liverpool, saying, guys, we're struggling. They need to feel us. We need to make them feel us, feel our pressure, physically and mentally. We cannot make them feel safe or comfortable on the ball. And yes, this was a foul in the final third, which you never need or never want. But for Zamudio to make that contact, to make David Atorbi know it's going to be a hard day, for me, that's a +1. That's a good moment for the Timbers here to get that momentum back.
Well, we've set the stage for you a couple times in these opening few minutes, and you guys have put in the votes who you think is going to win this game. Out there on Twitch, Valencia, 51%. And Bobby, I think a lot of people feel that way coming into this, and that man, Fernando Pessoa, loves it. He said it to us when I asked him coming into the semifinal, you know, what's the message? What do you say? He says, listen, we're getting a ton of great messages from Gio Savarese, as well as the T2 staff, everyone watching this, but no one thought we'd be here. There is no pressure for us. And that poll follows that up. Stay on Twitch. Keep sending us your comments and your questions as well. Zamudio is up, ready to continue, but first it'll be Domenech's free kick. Popped up at the far post. It was lugged in with the header away. And now there's acres of space for the Timbers to counter into, but Shimke couldn't get it up the field on his first touch. Domenech closing things down. And Bobby, after the RSL game, number of changes made by the Valencia coaching staff. Domenech pulled a little deeper from the center forward position. Atorbi wing swapped as well. And Moya, this young man at right back, is a menace. Gliding into space once again. He pulls it back. Domenech's shot is blocked. Moya on the second opportunity, and the offside flag goes up.
What have we been saying? You need your center backs to make plays in the box. 3 questions, 3 answers. Eli White, Max Shimke, so good. Brave to get in the way. Smart positioning, quick reactions. just what the Timbers have needed here through the first 25.
This is the Generation Adidas Cup U15 final. We will have a U17 final coming up tomorrow as we just finish off our semifinals. This is the premier youth championship in North America. Every MLS club qualifying and special invites from around the world, as well as qualified Liga MX teams at the U15, U17 level to play in this tournament, both as a benchmark to see where all these different federations, different academies stand. Also a chance to put yourself on a stage. It's a spot where we saw Weston McKennie emerge for the first time. Ricardo Pepi, Gio Reyna, so many young players from around the world that we've seen be major factors in World Cup qualifying, in Champions Leagues, in MLS, in Liga MX. And this is that first stage to show they can play with the best around the world, and they can react to stress and pressure. Bobby, they can react to tough moments, being up against it, not dominating games like you do maybe week in and week out, and playing under the bright lights.
Yeah, David, the biggest challenge to stepping up from the academy or the second team to the first team at the professional level is the pressure and stakes that you face every day. Every training session, every game, with livelihoods on the line. And how do you prepare a human being for that? It's a totally new experience, but Generation Adidas Cup is the closest these young players come to replicating that pressure, replicating that stress. And there's always a challenge of giving it to them too soon, and nobody wants that to happen. But at the same time, how can you prepare them for the professional stage? And they've been given incredible opportunities so far this week.
We've seen over the last few years that Weston McKennie come back to watch this tournament as a fan when he's had off time, showing you the place it holds for these young players. He played in the semifinal here against Eintracht Frankfurt in a tough loss. We saw Bofo Salcedo win a championship here on this field. Gio Reyna as well. There's an opportunity to fly forward now. Heel into the box, and it's wide of the far post. Rafael Heel, he's been sniffing around for a half chance, and the best look of the game.
And the flick is so good. The acceleration, he picks up his head, sees the goalkeeper coming, and just opens his hips and shifts it a yard wide. So much was right there from Heel up until the finish.
Keenan Van Pelt coming out to close off that angle for this Timbers side. Warning signs have been there for Portland, as it has been over the last few games. A reminder, this is the 6th game in 7 days for these young players. This is also the longest game they'll play all week at 70 total minutes, not including potential extra time. Sempre to switch the point of attack, and it's Morales getting forward for the first time. And Heel once again. He attempts the volley. And lugged in. Over to Garcia, closed down by Atorbi. Danger moments now. Atorbi, his shot blocked again. And the Timbers trying to hang on till halftime. Zodia coming back to help defend. Shimke comes over to close things down. The center back chasing Perez out of the box. And the shot from Domenech is blocked. And Valencia, Bobby, as you talked about, the waterfall. Just chance after chance coming in. And Atorbi flashes it wide.
It's a survive game state for the Portland Timbers right now. It happens. You're under it. You can't pick your head up. This is where you say, okay, I just have to compete. 5-minute stretches. Get to halftime. Be disciplined. Be focused. Don't try and do too much. Accept that it's going to be a very hard 5 minutes. Survive to experience the next 5.
Reminder, these coaches are allowed 7 substitutions in this game. If they're done in the second half, they've got 3 moments that they can do it in. As we get the sauce meter going for the first time here in the final. Anyone new to us? Anytime you see a piece of skill, a little bit of quality, Bobby will tell you a goalkeeping save, which Dylan Greiner did convert me on yesterday for Atlanta United. We let our truck do a little bit of a sauce meter quality, and we want you to do it out there in Twitch as well, as this one's put into the near post. And Van Pelt keeping it out of the back of the net.
We've said multiple times you need a keeper who is in form to win this knockout competition. And Keenan Van Pelt is in form right now. Again, it's a Torby down the right side, showing the center of gravity of the pace, the clever ball, and the run across the face of goal from Diego Garcia. And David, in these next 4 minutes, the Timbers need to either drop their midfield line and Noah Santos and get more compact, or step the back four higher. But right now, the gaps are too big front to back. If Atorbe's going to take that touch, the Portland player needs support.
Moya now, and Zamudio makes the tackle. A huge part of this tournament is these players out there seeing challenges, adjusting themselves, not having the coaches walk them through every little piece of it, as Zamudio's been under pressure. We did see the Timbers go with a 4-man midfield to start the semifinal. They do have August Holscher as well as Hudson Tate, some center mids on the bench they could bring on. They also have Max Eisenberg. 2 goals scored in this tournament in 2 big moments. He started the last game in a front 2 with Santos. So a lot of options for Pessoa if he chooses to use them. A Torby in the box. The battle. Carter can't beat that first defender. And now Santos with the flick on. And here is the outlet. Grayson Carter chasing over the top. And he's closed out by Monino. That's exactly what the Timbers needed.
Survive until your moment comes. That's what we're seeing right now, and this is one of those moments.
And you know Azodia's got the quality on the ball. You know you've got a Noah Santos in the box who can put it away. We saw Lugton with the header at the far post in the 63rd minute to equalize in the last game on the final kick. Can the Timbers steal the goal and the momentum heading into halftime?
David, we see a left-footed player on the ball, so look for the clip ball at the far post to come back across.
Azodia floats it in. It's knocked down off the goalkeeper, and the foul is called. Abdu NJ, our head official, right on top of that one. But Bobby, you can hear the Timbers supporters in the stadium right behind Eric Azodia. They've got drums. They've got the thunder sticks. They are emulating Timbers armies the same as these players are emulating the Portland Timbers.
There's a great moment before the game, David, in warm-up when both teams are on the field going through their paces, and you hear a, "Let's go Timbers," but you can't see it. You don't know where it's coming from.
Torby gets to the end line here, pulls it back. Van Pelt with the save, and it ends up again in his arms off the rebound. And there are those Timbers fans loving Keenan Van Pelt.
And deservedly so. Van Pelt, one of the stars of the competition. Another big save. And just to finish that, David, you can hear the "Let's Go Timbers," and then you see the U17s come over the crest, into the stairs, down into the stadium cheering, and everyone on the field stops and just soaks it in.
Long strike there, and it goes over the top. We take a look at the saves that brought those Keenan Van Pelt chants out.
And Van Pelt does everything right here. The cross step, the shift, a good positioning, good reactions, good strong wrists. He makes it look easy, but only because he does the little details leading up to it.
Ufrain TV says this keeper's keeping the Timbers alive, and he's not wrong. But I remind you, the Portland Timbers, they've been counted out before. They trailed 1-0 to FC Porto and came back and won 2-1. They trailed 2-0 to the Philadelphia Union, one of the pre-tournament favorites, and came back to tie it 2-2. They trailed in stoppage time against LAFC and came back to tie it and win in penalties. This is a team that can hurt you quickly, as we are into a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time to close out this first half. Moya, he's been the outlet for this Valencia attack. He and Atorbe for something else to watch. Valencia, it would be a dagger if they could get the goal now. Garcia steps in between. And then Brahmer clears it away as the foul going against the Torby on the end of that play. Bobby, take me into the minds of Fernando Pessoa. What's the message for his team here at halftime?
Fantastic performance. Yeah, it's been hard. Of course it's hard. It's Valencia. We see how good they are, but fantastic. Be proud. And then I think you look them in the eye, David, and you say, you ready to go for it? You up for this next 35 minutes? I believe in you. You made it to the final for a reason. You can do this. And Pessoa want to put that confidence in them. Tactically, they need to close their lines. Too big of the gap between front to back, between the back four and the midfield five, specifically on this right side. Either make up your mind. Are you going to step higher or are you going to drop? But you need to do it together.
And I don't even have to ask what Francisco Cuenca Sarrion will say for Valencia. He'll want to keep pushing, keep fighting, keep going. This is a team that's built to go forward. 0-0 at halftime. It's been a GA Cup of drama, and we expect more. We've got a preview of our U17 final coming up here, as well as all your second half action. We've got 35 minutes to give away a trophy. Will it be the Timbers or Valencia for the first time ever winning the U15 edition of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup?
What the foreign country have done in 1 century, we did it in 10 years.
The great soccer pioneer Lamar Hunt once said, "I get asked this a lot. Why has soccer not succeeded?" My answer is, soccer has succeeded. It is already the fastest growing youth participation sport in the U.S. It has already succeeded at the youth level, no question. Lamar Hunt envisioned early on that youth development would play a vital part in the growth of soccer in the United States. But to measure how far we've come as a soccer nation starts here in Frisco, Texas. The Generation Adidas Cup brings Major League Soccer academies face-to-face against international powerhouses from all over the world. Since the introduction of this tournament, and in the last few years alone, the youth game has gone through a metamorphosis. But what is being done at the youth level to advance the game?
The game, the players, and our coaches.
Through a partnership with the French Football Federation, Major League Soccer began prioritizing the education of coaches in every level, and alongside on-field competition and the development of a player itself, encompassed the 3 pillars of focus towards advancing the youth game.
We have put in a lot of time and effort on coaching development. So I think that the results of that are starting to happen. The coaches who have gone through the French EFCL, the French Federation course, we're starting to see how that has changed in the way their teams are approaching the game and the way that they're playing. The fact that our clubs now are going younger and younger, bringing in kids at the ages of, in some cases, 11 and 12 years old, it's giving them a little bit of longevity and preparation in the way that they are building a young professional. So they're taking it from a young age, developing their technical skills, developing their tactical awareness of the game, improving their physical conditioning and their mental approach to the game. So I think we're starting to see the results. Every year for the last 3 years, we've seen an improvement of the quality of play, and I think we're seeing it this year, that our clubs are slowly but surely catching up to the international clubs.
We cannot develop better kids if we don't have better teacher. So we have done a lot of work on this subject. The last aspect is the competition aspect. We all know if we want to improve our kids, we need to develop them with more meaningful competition. And the GA Cup is a perfect example of this effort. In one side, we try to benchmark our players and our coaches against the best team of the world, and Real Madrid is here to highlight that. But it's also, in the other side, the opportunity to create a coaching symposium to try to link both competition and coaching education, and to make sure we have different layers in this process to upgrade and to improve everyone.
We can't afford to have this traditional mentality that we know everything, because the second we think that, we're going to stop growing. So as a nation, and I feel the more curious we are about the game itself, and put the ego to the side, and realize that there's a lot more to learn than what we know, then I think our development's going to have another boost.
In the previous structure that we had, when a player was good in an academy, almost he was the one that was getting the least coaching, because the clubs did not want to lose that player. Now I think we're creating an environment that is full of good players, so therefore those special players now are going to have to push themselves, and that's going to help them to raise the level and become those world superstars. I have no doubt that in a short period of time, we're going to see very special players. We're starting to see that.
Giovanni Reyna steps to the spot and puts his team ahead in extra time of the Premier Division Championship. Under the lights at Toyota Stadium, we are at halftime of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup U15 competition between the Portland Timbers and Valencia, but this is not our last game of the GA Cup. David Goss and Bobby Warshaw with you here in the booth. We've got the U17 final coming up tomorrow night here, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:15 local. And Bobby, we watched both the U17 semifinals earlier today, and we were really impressed by these teams.
Yeah, David, especially the Seattle Sounders, who are 2 players down. One, Reed Baker-Whiting was with the team earlier in the tournament, was called back to the first team, and starting tonight for the Seattle Sounders first team is his could-be under-17 teammate, Obed Vargas, who could be playing for the Sounders in this tournament, and they are joined by, David, 2 players who played in the 2019 GA Cup Championship team for the Sounders, Josh Atencio and Danny Leyva.
And this was a game where the Sounders showed, Bobby, their mettle, their culture of handling big moments and winning. It was topsy-turvy. In the first half, Inter Miami dominated for large stretches. Seattle really found their feet at the end of the first half. This young man, Christopher Aquino, came off the bench. He scores the goal. There's a red card and long injury stoppage. A ton of action in the second half, but Seattle kept their heads.
He's a game changer, and these Seattle teams are so mature for their age. Yes, they have talent. Yes, they are tactically smart, but it's the maturity, the way they manage the teams that's so impressive.
On the flip side, River Plate come into this tournament as favorites every time. They've won it 3 times at the U17 level. But Tigres, they were not intimidated. The 2 twin brothers, Isak and Itzias Galvan, matching up here, connecting 2 minutes into the game. River equalized 5 minutes after that. But Bobby, on your checklist, Tigres have one big thing. They've got match winners.
Absolutely. Yes, they have a goalkeeper who can win, and yes, they're good defensively, but those 3 attackers, as we saw earlier today, putting 4 by perhaps the best defense in this league, they can beat you in so many ways too, David. On the break, in possession. Here we see it earlier today. So good getting on the end of crosses.
You see the assist there for Diego Sanchez, the 3rd member of that 3-headed monster in the attack with the Galvan brothers. River Plate didn't go away. They showed their quality. The bike kick. They showed their class. They showed what they're capable of. But Itzias Galvan popping up on the far post after the 2 assists to get the goal. And then his brother Isak closed it off after River Plate made it a 3-2 game. You thought River could stress Tigres. It was an unbelievable matchup, but Tigres still had one more winner in them.
Yeah, and David, considering that the Seattle Sounders first team is set to play in a CONCACAF Champions League final coming up, it's only fitting that, of course, they would play Tigres at the under-17 level for a trophy and, of course, their chance to be back-to-back Generation Adidas Cup champions here in Frisco.
And, Bobby, let's take a look at the bracket. We're at the final stage. Really, as you preview this one, We're not sure who's going to take more of the ball, who's going to really be the one that pushes the tempo, but we know both teams have those winners in them, and both teams have shown the mettle to get all the way to the final.
They do, and they absolutely deserve to be there. Look at the top left of that bracket for Tigres. The teams that they beat, who was on that side, then of course the Sounders. Beating Inter Miami, coached by MLS legend Javier Morales. Both of these teams have absolutely demonstrated that they are the worthy competitors in the final. And if they were to raise the trophy, they can absolutely say.
And Seattle has beaten 2 Liga MX sides, but we come back here to the U15 final. We've still got a second half to play, tied at 0-0 between the Portland Timbers and Valencia. Valencia have pushed and pushed in this first half, but the Timbers still hanging on right now and still everything to play for. And we have an opportunity to go down to our sideline as Fernando Pessoa is standing alongside our Kelly Glendenning.
Fernando, 0-0 in the first half. What were your overall thoughts on how your team performed?
Yeah, first of all, we need to have more composure on the ball. We're giving the ball away too much. I think that's the first thing we have to come back in place. Boys are putting a ton of work in terms of defensively. That is not. They cannot hide that Valencia had much more shots than we had. The boys are putting the work there. Just organize some space on the field and be more precise on the ball. Have the ball moving a little more. They're trying to do too much against a lot of numbers.
And overall, how proud are you of this team for making it this far and then having the wonderful support of the U17s out here? We can hear their drums. Just how is this moment for you as a coach?
This is fantastic. As a club in general, I think that's beautiful. I don't have another word. I think passion moves that along, but it's beautiful. It's incredible to see these boys coming fighting game after game and then being in the stadium now, playing a final GA Adidas. That's just fantastic tournament, one of the biggest, in the youth level. So that's great. Now, let's go on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Bobby, I'm ready to play. There isn't a coach I'd rather play for than Fernando Pessoa. So often we sit and we listen to these coaching staffs. I sat in on a Vancouver Whitecaps halftime talk against Monterrey, and the coach came in and said they thought they were playing hockey players. They know who you are now, and I was ready to play. We heard Zach Harold and Andrew May, 2 of the best young coaches in the country, inspire their teams as well and get us going. But Fernando Pessoa, in his calm manner, the way he talks about the game, the way he talks about this team, it's so special. Valencia, you're going to look to come right back out on the attack. Torby with the cross, knocked away to the top of the box. Sempre misses his volley. And it'll run out for a throw-in. Valencia in their red kits and black shorts going right to left on your screens. Pedro Garcia in goal, a 4-4-2. Ruben Morales at left back. Carlos Torres and Adrian Monino, your center back pairing. Romeo Moya, the right back who's been the danger man all night. Ruben Sempre and Pau Domenech, 2 center mids. Marcos Perez on the left side. David Atorbi, the number 7 on the right side. And the pairing up top in Rafael Gil and Diego Garcia. On the flip side for the Timbers, their white kits in green shorts. You've got Keenan Van Pelt, who has been the man of the match so far in goal. As the pressure comes towards him once again, Van Pelt sees it go by him and roll out for a goal kick. To defend him in this 4-3-3 from right to left, Kai Carlson, Max Shimke and Eli White, the center back pairing, and Jesus Garcia at left back. The 2 defensive midfielders, Andrew Bromert and Emiliano Zamudio. The attacking number 10, Eric Izodia. And the front 3, Grayson Carter on the left, Callum Lugton on the right. And their leading goal scorer up top, the center forward, the Mexican-American, Noah Santos. 35 minutes here in the second half to play to decide a champion. If not, we are headed to extra time. The temperature has finally dropped here in Frisco, Texas. About 55 degrees here as we continue this game. Beautiful setting for the 6th game in 7 days for these young players. We are here with you on YouTube and Twitch enjoying this one, and we'll be in the Twitch chat the whole game. Send us your comments and your questions for us. Timbers trying to break through Azodia. Intercepted and brought back here for Valencia.
And David, we saw the heart that the Timbers head coach brings to this, and we both would do anything for that man after what we just listened to. But there's also an element of tactical adjustment that they obviously have to make, especially down their left side, Valencia's right side, and we've already seen it. Whereas Grayson Carter, the left winger for the Timbers, had been aggressive.
Breaking forward. Garcia puts that shot in early, and Van Pelt takes it.
Whereas Grayson Carter had been at block stepping to the ball, we've already seen him wait, staying closer, more connected to the left back behind him. He's active. 2 possessions, a Torby ball. He has not. Team having to go
There by Carlson.
offside of that. What to do on stand, connect more pass. Very important to be more effective channel.
Kick coming now. Post. Goal. And 1-2 react. Attack. Starting there. We got Noah Santa.
You've been at opportunity to see through what team more at G8.
I think the Portland Timbers group through Unga Talon Lugton has been the TFC. They Bomanech now jumps on the kick. Fantastic. Seattle, of course, their U17s, the Columbus Crews U17s as well. As Domenech, his free kick hits the wall.
David, add to your point about this Timbers U15 team, it makes a statement that anything's possible at this event. They didn't come in as one of the big names. They didn't come as one of the favorites, but they've competed every single game. They've been focused, and they've made it here to the final.
See the subs getting ready for Portland. Headed up into the air. Headed back. A Torby now into the box. It's cleared away. And now, Heel looking to create, surrounded by white jerseys. It'll be a throw-in for the Timbers, and that means the subs are ready to come on. That's the 3 subs we talked about in the first half. August Holscher, Hudson Tate, and the goal scorer off the bench, Max Eisenberg. He's done it twice in this tournament to win the game off the bench for them. Can he do it once again? The number 80 up top.
And David, with these subs, we'll see a shape change as well. They'll go back to the way they started the semifinal. 4 players in midfield now and 2 strikers up top. Again, they went to the 4-3-3 to start this game for the personnel, but I expect to see a change here with the subs.
And let's go down for more on that from Kelly Glendenning.
Spoke with Portland assistant coach Connor DeRosas Peter Hans about these substitutions, and he said specifically they want to bring that mobility to the midfield. Number 68, Augie Holscher, he's going to be able to connect the midfield into those front players.
Thank you so much, Kelly. So 3 subs made, 7 available for these coaching staffs. Portland Timbers have 2 more moments to use. Valencia yet to make a sub, so they have all 3 moments and 7 subs available. Number 73, Hudson Tate in the midfield for the Timbers. I mentioned Augie Holscher will play as the points in that diamond. And Max Eisenberg will play up top in a 2-striker setup with Noah Santos. Bobby, I was really impressed by Augie Holscher in the game against LAFC. He battled, but anytime they got forward, he was quick with his touches. He connected really well with Santos.
Yeah, he's the pause in the team, David. He's the one that can put his foot on the ball, help them breathe, play under pressure. So the 2 main objectives as well that they'll get out of this is putting another player higher up the field allows them, like this, to just apply more pressure, try and push Valencia back. And then, of course, Gene Holscher on the field, who can just bring that calm when they get on the ball.
Bobby, 10 minutes into the second half, it hasn't felt as overwhelming as the Timbers fans cheering their team on. It hasn't felt as overwhelming from Valencia. The Timbers feel that they've settled in.
They have, and we see this often at halftime. Again, when you're underwater, just survive. Accept that it's going to be really hard. You often concede and lose focus because you're stressed about struggling, but it happens in any football match. And here we see the Timbers just deal with it. So effective, so patient what they were doing, and they made it to the other side, a chance to turn the momentum.
And Bobby, at the senior level, Seattle Sounders are preparing to make history and try and win CCL for the first time ever. And I think a lot of people in the MLS circles are cheering for them. We got it going on here. The Galaxy Academy team, St. Louis, Columbus, they're all in that makeshift Timbers army cheering on this Portland Timbers U15 side against this Valencia team. Cross comes in for this Valencia team. Van Pelt takes it. And let's go down to our sideline reporter, Kelly Glendenning.
Guys, I had to take a walk down there to the makeshift Portland Timbers Army, and I said, how did this come about? Where did all this stuff come from? They said they took a trip to Walmart, Party City, and they brought the trash cans from the hotel room. So they're doing whatever they can to put everything together and cheer on their teammates.
This has been so much fun to watch. And as I said in the first half, these players, they're fans first for these clubs.
For one night and one night only, but it is worth it, man.
A chance for them to emulate. We saw River Plate's U15s bringing banners, shirts off, singing and dancing in our semifinal earlier today. These players, and I think Fernando Pessoa said it best when he said, it's beautiful to watch. The support that these players have given each other. It's not easy to come here for 10 days. Away from your friends and families. Fernando Pessoa said after the quarterfinal, I asked, how'd you you know, what'd you do? He said, well, recovery and homework. And he's talked a bit about going to a movie and trying to talk about non-soccer things. This becomes your family. And especially day in and day out that these groups train together. Valencia going to connect here. They've been through quite a lot as well to travel all the way over from Spain for this game. To play in these conditions. We've had 90-degree weather. We've had 50-degree weather. We've had 70-mile-per-hour winds. We've had lightning and thunder. We've had it all. And Valencia have had their backs against the wall a few times, and they fought through it. Do they have that finishing touch here tonight, or will the Timbers do it once again? Holscher with the turn. And that one too far ahead of Eisenberg, but you see, as Bobby said, that pause from Augie Holscher. And Eisenberg with the pressure, and this one's gonna roll in! Max Eisenberg does it again for the third time here! He comes off the bench and puts the Timbers ahead!
A special moment for Max Eisenberg. We've talked over and over that these Timbers will never stop. They will never quit. They will keep fighting. In this moment, this fight, this challenge leads directly to a goal and a celebration that young man will never, ever forget.
Max Eisenberg had the winner after going down 1-0 against Porto in the group stage. He had the opener to cut the lead in half against Philly to come back in the final game of the group stage to send it to penalties, which got the Timbers into the next round. And now he's off and running with Santos on the ball. Santos to Eisenberg, back to Noah Santos. He pulls it back. Noah Santos over the crossbar.
The long busting run. 50 yards on the ball. The give and go, the one-touch pass from Eisenberg. And Noah Santos, who's been so good all tournament, he was so good on that run. Just pulls the shot up and over the bar. But we knew coming into this game, David, that any 3-second stretch from the Timbers with open space could just be spectacular.
And Valencia's going to need a substitute here for an injury. And Bobby, that young man hasn't missed many times. Take another look at this goal. And this is why you hang around. This is why you talked about a goalkeeper keeping you in a game in Van Pelt for this half chance.
It was, and so often it's just about mental focus. Which team is going to drop their focus first? And here we see Valencia trying to play out of the back. We saw similar earlier today with Manchester City conceding a goal on a challenge on the goalkeeper. It's part of the game. It's to some a bigger risk not to take the risk. But this time Valencia punished, but full credit to Max Eisenberg to chase it down, to give it everything, to be brave in the tackle.
And that'll be it for Adrian Moninho. We hope the best for him. An unbelievable tournament. He was the one that scored the stoppage time equalizer to keep Valencia alive against RSL. So it looks like Laronga will come on. We saw him play center back in the last game there, number 2. Naturally a right back. The other two substitutes for this Valencia side, Hector Sanchez, the forward, and Pedro Puig Verdu, who we've seen play in central midfield. So the immediate response from Valencia. They do have more time than they had previous in this tournament to come back.
Love this shout from Abs. David, if you're a Portland Timbers fan and you see the striker chase down the goalkeeper, what comes to mind?
Steve Clark? But not when he was on the team. He was on Columbus. 2015 MLS Cup, the opening goal was a Diego Valeri.
It was somebody on the Timbers blocking the ball straight into the goal, the opener, as the Timbers won their first MLS Cup.
Santos drives that one in. Valencia, though, have numbers on the break now. Moya can't quite connect, but it still flows through to Torby. The danger is on. Valencia charging forward, and Garcia makes the tackle.
And David, so professional on the back post. Domenech just threw. But Max Shimke just pulls him back. Not enough for a foul to get noticed, but a professional decision to defend the back post.
And now Eisenberg on the break once again, dragged down. Laranga just came into this game, and he will pick up a yellow card. The first one shown by Abdou NJ, our head referee.
This game got juice.
And these fans have helped bring it. But Bobby, what we saw in the quarterfinals was when RSL adjusted at halftime, Valencia lost their momentum. They lost their pressure, and off the goal, they reacted worse. Can they find something else different here in the final? Striding forward now is Torres, intercepted by Garcia. So 3 subs made by these two teams. They both have 4 subs and 2 moments available to them if they want it. 70-minute game here, unless we're tied, and then we will go to 2 5-minute extra time periods. Rommert up to Holscher. Tate, and somehow Santos brings that one down. Noah Santos showing off here.
Now, David, again, we'll keep talking about this theme. The Timbers are too far front to back. If they're going to be in the block, drop the front 4 or squeeze the back 4. Right now, their players are too stretched. It's too easy for Valencia to play through them. Right? We've talked about their emotional resilience. We've talked about their competitiveness. Now it has to be tactical discipline as well.
Holscher over to Zamudio, back to Holscher. Augie Holscher finding the holes in this Valencia side. Santos picks this one up from a deeper area. Noah Santos into the path of Eisenberg. Eisenberg battling once again. Valencia come away with it.
Does Noah Santos ever play sideways? If you give him any space and he has any vertical option, he will always risk it. He'll always dare to play the dangerous ball.
We have heard that both U.S. Soccer and the FMF, the Mexican Football Federation, have been watching him closely at this tournament. And you can see why with the quality he's had. David Goss, Bobby Warshaw, and Kelly Glendenning with you for this one on Twitch and on the YouTube, MLS YouTube page. And we got a comment here saying this level of youth soccer is impressive. And Bobby, it has changed for these players, the way they're developed, what they go through, and then with tests like this, the level they're at, both in the U.S. but around the world.
It is, and the opportunity to play these international teams, for the Portland Timbers to take on Valencia. Manchester United here, Celtic here, Portland here, River Plate. We have seen these MLS teams go up against some of the world's best, and all of the games have brought something special.
And the bridge to the first team has never been closer. No, these U15 players aren't going to jump into the first team. But 2 years ago, Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy played in this U15 tournament, and now he starts in MLS. And so the possibility exists, and the pathway exists for these young players. So remember these names, because you won't be waiting long to see them in T2 and potentially with the Timbers.
And what a difference Augie Holscher has made since he came into the game. Having a player who can just take the pressure off you, who can do the little shoulder dip one way, go the other with a touch, the pause, the patience. He's brought a new composure to the entire Timbers team.
We will award an MVP, a top goalkeeper, and a top goal scorer after this game is done. A ton of great options from across the competition. As Eisenberg flicks that one on. Everything he touches is gold right now off the bench.
And again, can the Timbers keep the field squeezed?
Verdue over the top for Atorbi. He hasn't had the same openings in this second half. Atorbi over to Perez. It sneaks through the shot, and it'll go up into the night.
David, it's moments like that when it feels like it's now Valencia who is stressed. It's Valencia who's rushing it. Options on the ball, a player of Domenech's quality, and he rushes the left-footed shot over the goal.
You can hear the fans into this one. Valencia, they've shared the goal scoring over the course of this tournament. I mentioned 6 goals in the first game. No one has more than 2 goals individually. That had been their strength. But you've talked about your checklist for winning. And now you come to who does it all fall on? Who steps up and takes the mantle in a moment like this? And I don't know that Valencia has one player they look to.
No, and in the group stage, that larger sample is a strength. But we see so often in knockout rounds, it's one moment. It's one player who wants the pressure, who steps up in the pressure. Our best guess, Pal Domenech. But this is a new challenge that we have not seen him have to face in this competition.
Verdue and Tate battling it out. Tate wins that battle. And it's a throw-in for the Timbers in the attacking half. A game of 2 halves. Valencia pouring it on, chance after chance in the first half, and Keenan Van Pelt kept the Timbers alive. Here in the second half, the Timbers adjust, they find their feet, and this young man, Max Eisenberg, has them 10 minutes away from winning this championship. And Bobby, we've got people in the chat talking. As Santos breaks into the box, lays it off. Holscher, wide for Zamudio, and over the crossbar and into the stands.
The shift in momentum, the last 15 minutes, I don't know if I can compare it to anything, David. The pressure that Valencia applied through the first 35, if you have just recently tuned in, Valencia were absolutely dominant in the first half. And whatever speech, whatever juice the Portland Timbers coaching staff gave at halftime, it worked. They have been the front foot team. They have been the proactive team here in the second half.
Garcia, he's had to battle all night at left back. Moya's been phenomenal. Moya earns the foul right on the edge of the 18. That young man, Romeo Moya, he is one of the attacking threats from that right back spot. And he has set his team up with a huge opportunity. 2 years ago, it was the Seattle Sounders to win the Generation Adidas Cup, to change the perception of their academy, put their flag up. Will it be the Timbers here in 2022? And it will be Keenan Van Pelt if they're able to get over the line.
David, what more do you want from a goalkeeper? Shot stopping, positioning, distribution, and now command of the box?
A little attitude. Van Pelt having fun with this one right now. And Bobby, this is what Javier Morales talked to us about this morning, and Fernando Pessoa this afternoon. enjoying the pressure, enjoying this moment. It didn't feel maybe like the Timbers were there in the first half, except that young man. They've gotten there in this second half.
It's beautiful. What else can you say but to use the word we heard at halftime? It's beautiful when young people get this opportunity, when they rise this opportunity, and when I think all of us at our age, David, know if you can enjoy it in the moment, we can look back with fond memories, but to actually enjoy it in the moment, to feel the adrenaline and the excitement, that's the pinnacle. And it feels like that's what we're seeing from the Portland Timbers, embracing and enjoying this incredible moment at Generation Adidas Cup.
And that's what that man, Fernando Pessoa, has pushed his team to do. We have roughly 8 minutes more to play. Reminder, this, the final, the only game that has 35-minute halves, so a 70-minute game. And right now, Max Eisenberg's 50th minute goal is the difference as the Portland Timbers try to hang on. Hector Sanchez battling into the corner for Valencia. Valencia have 2 more substitutes warming up that they could go to if they want to, including Jack George Habershaw, who they brought on in the semifinal to shut things down. Santos coming back to defend now. And Santos slips. Bobby doing the work from that center forward position. And a reminder that in the semifinals, LAFC scored in the 2nd minute to take the lead. And Keenan Van Pelt then made a save in the second half on a penalty kick to keep his team alive before they were able to get the 63rd minute equalizer on the assist from Nolan Beck and the goal from Callum Lugton. The Timbers now 5 minutes of regulation before we enter stoppage time. And that one knocked out, and Zamudio clears it away. Emiliano Zamudio, he scored the 5th shot in the penalty kick shootout in the semifinal to send the Timbers here. And he has done the defensive dirty work here today. Carlson with the interception.
David, a symbol of the shift in this second half. Timbers left back, Jesus Garcia, 2v1s all half, struggling with this man, number 7, David Iturbe. But where is Iturbe now, David? Not on the right side. He's shifted to the left because of the second half that Jesus Garcia was having over there. A fantastic recovery, forcing Valencia's most influential player through the first 35 to get just anywhere but over there.
Eisenberg, the goal scorer. And he's able to earn a free throw in the attacking half. And take a moment for this team to get their breath. Where First says it here in the chat. He says, love seeing Portland come out so aggressive this half. Defensive midfield have looked much stronger. And Bobby, so much of this sport, we talk about tactics, we talk about skill. Sometimes it's just mentality. And the learning point of this tournament is about that aggression, that intensity. American players have gotten there. Canadian players have gotten there technically over the last 8 years. They've been able to get there physically over the last 10, 20 years. And that last bit is being able to match the intensity, the match-winning moments against these big international clubs.
Absolutely. To add a word to that too, David, believe. Believe that just because you haven't been in a GA Cup final.
Noah Santos trying to give his team the capper here. And closed off and puts it out for a goal kick.
David, the belief that just because you haven't been in a GA Cup final, just because that's a Valencia across the midfield line from you, doesn't mean that you aren't as good as them. Doesn't mean that you can't win trophies.
Torby gets to the end line. His cross blocked. Shimke trying to clear it, surrounded by red jerseys, and finally the Timbers get it out. Torby cutting inside. The long shot, and it goes wide.
If you're the Timbers, you take that effort all day. If it's going to be the center back who has to drive forward to find space, the defensive midfielder to come forward, take space, and shoot from 25, that is fine with you. You score a banger from there, we will applaud you, but we will take that 2% probability all day.
And Bobby, you mentioned that belief for the Portland Timbers. You look at yourself now and you say, we beat FC Porto. We beat one of the pre-tournament favorites in Philadelphia Union in the group stage. Then they beat the tournament favorite LAFC in the semifinals. The Red Bulls, one of the best youth academies in the country. Both internationally and domestically, they've beat all of the teams that people thought would win this tournament. And so for the Portland Timbers, for the rest of their lives, these young players, you're going to be able to say to them, you belong on the field with anyone else, and you've already proven that in your careers. Substitute coming here, Nolan Beck, the left back who served in the cross in the 63rd minute, the final kick of the game to get them over the line in the semifinal.
Adding another player in the back line.
And Noah Santos, excuse me, a little frustrated being taken off. He's not used to it. It hasn't happened yet in this tournament. But the Timbers adding an extra defender here, Bobby, to see this one out as we approach stoppage time.
Yeah, as we saw last game, Nolan Beck capable of playing left back. Here it looks like he'll shift to right back. They'll move Eisenberg to Santos' position center striker and shift Holscher up higher.
Noah Santos. He's got to be headed for an award of some sort.
And a statement from the Timbers coaching staff that they can pull this out. Because, of course, if it goes to extra time, you no longer have your key attacker on the field. But the Timbers saying, let's get this done now.
Iago Sanchez coming on for Valencia. Late on here. Now on the flip side, Bobby, you don't want to go to extra time or penalty kicks without that, young man. You've got 4 minutes minimum of stoppage time to hang on. A reminder that Valencia in the quarterfinals scored on a set piece in stoppage time to force penalties. Can they do it again? Eisenberg into empty space. He's not going to get a whole ton of support in the attack. The 50th minute goal by Eisenberg on the press. The difference right now. It'll be heartbreak for Valencia and euphoria for the Timbers if this hangs on. That's what this tournament is all about. Moya still looking to create.
Do you have the 1%? 7 games, 8 days, 71 minutes. Do you have the 1% in your soul?
Ball floated to the far post, headed down, and into the arms of Van Pelt.
This was the moment that Valencia wanted. Far post, open header, Carlos Torres. But once again, Keenan Van Pelt, good spot, easy save.
And Amin NYC's been watching this whole tournament in the Twitch chat. He says if Valencia comes back, you have to rename it the Generation Adidas Comeback Cup. As we have had drama all tournament. We've had wild finishes. Is there another one here? And the foul will go for the Timbers in the box.
And Max Shimke again. Duels in the box. It's what the sport comes down to. Everything else sets up these moments of individual duels within 10 yards of the goal. And when asked upon, Max Shimke and Eli White, the Portland Timbers center backs, have won every single one.
Bobby, it's the way a win should be. Every player has done their bit for this Timbers team in this tournament, but especially here in this game. Eisenberg wins this one. He puts it out into the path of Beck. Beck looking to get to the end line. He won't be able to catch up with it. And Valencia will try and get it back into play quickly. Valencia. They produced multiple players in Spain's World Cup winning team. One of the giants in La Liga. They've been to the U17 GA Cup finals. Their first ever U15 final. They poured it on in the first half. They had shots, they had pressure. The Timbers hung on, and Van Pelt coming out, helping them hang on still here in stoppage time. Garcia with acre for his face as we approach the final minute of stoppage time. Zamudio now stepping forward. So the Timbers push for one more as Zamudio shows off his skills. The sauce meter still turned on here in stoppage time. Eisenberg with the long shot. Sanchez punches it down. Max Eisenberg here, looking for one more. Augie Holzer! And Augie Holzer will win it for the Timbers!
Go ahead and throw up the 10 on the sauce meter to end the tournament on this pass. From Max Eisenberg to Augie Holzer. Put your stamp on it, young man. You deserve it. It's been a spectacular run from the Portland Timbers throughout Generation Adidas Cup. And that goal says it all. The heart, the desire, the quality in the key moments over and over again. And a spectacular finish to what's been an extraordinary run through GA Cup.
A moment that will live in that young man's life, in his mind forever. Augie Holzer. We talked about his quality on the ball. The pause in the team. There was no pause in that run. And Max Eisenberg pressed this team to a victory in the end. He created the goal out of nothing to put his side ahead. And he created the capper. And the Portland Timbers have won the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup. Heartbreak for Valencia. Euphoria for the Timbers and that young man, Augie Holzer. Max Eisenberg, Noah Santos, Keenan Van Pelt, Emiliano Zamudio. So many players putting in a performance for the Portland Timbers. They came from behind 5 times in this tournament. They were up against the ropes at halftime, Bobby. What a second half. What a night for the Portland Timbers U15s.
Celebrate. You deserve it. You rose to the challenge every time. You were given hard questions. You responded with fantastic answers. Your focus, your discipline, your quality. Across the team, your backs were against the wall, and you stepped up. In the big stadium, on the worldwide broadcast, first the defensive play by Eisenberg to take the lead. And if you had asked anyone at halftime what this second half would look like, they wouldn't have guessed this. The comeback, emotionally, in the last 30 minutes, and then this pass to cap it off, just sensational.
The substitutes for Fernando Pessoa get it done. The starters as well. Keenan Van Pelt, the goalkeeper, outstanding. Eli White and Max Shimke at center back, unbreakable. Kai Carlson at right back. time and time again, pushing away Valencia's attack. Jesus Garcia at left back. An unbelievable performance. Andrew Brummert and Emiliano Zamudio in midfield. Bobby covering every blade of grass here at Toyota Stadium. Eric Azodia from the start. His vision, his poise. Grayson Carter, the goal against the Red Bulls. The defensive work in the second half here tonight. Callum Lupton, the equalizer in the 3rd minute of stoppage time in the semis to keep the Timbers alive. Nolan Beck, the assist on that stoppage time equalizer. And then Augie Holshire to finish it off here tonight. And their leading scorer, Bobby, who led the point, who gave them the belief, Noah Santos. A night these young players will never forget. A night this club will never forget. Their families, their friends, their parents. Shout out to everyone who's been on Twitch watching along with us. This has been one of the best tournaments we've ever seen. Your heart goes out to these Valencia players, Bobby, who were unbelievable in this tournament. Set a tone, a level at the U15 level that now every team across MLS and in the world that was here is going to try and get their players to.
The most dominant stretches that we saw from any team at any age in this tournament. What they did in the semifinals. The control in every phase of the game. And then the first 35 in the final. Putting Portland to the test in every single way. And they also would have been deserved winners.
Who wouldn't want to play for that man? Who wouldn't want to be a part of this group for the Portland Timbers? And Bobby, I said it, Seattle changed the view of their academy 2 years ago with their win. They pushed players into the first team. For the Timbers, a little different the way they've won this tournament, but Fernando Pessoa talked to us. With the entrance of T2 and MLS Next Pro, the academy is ready.
And the effects are tangible. David, we were here in this booth, on this field in 2019, watching the Sounders win GA Cup. And tonight, on a Saturday night in the Major League Soccer season, they have 2 of those players on the field, Josh Atencio and Danny Leyva. They have 2 other players, and Obed Vargas and Reed Baker Whiting, who are eligible for this year's GA Cup. One is on the field, one has received first team minutes. Today it's youth soccer. Tomorrow it could be first team in these professional stadiums in front of the full crowds.
We've got a top scorer. We've got an MVP trophy. We've got a top goalkeeper, Bobby, which, spoilers, I think I might know who won that one in this competition. Although we've had some incredible performances. Credit to LAFC, who lost to this Timbers team in penalty kicks in the semifinal and played some of the best soccer we've seen. Credit to Atlanta United's U15s, led by Dylan Griner at the back, Ashton Gordon and Giorgio Kibo up front, and Aiden Torres in midfield, who were incredible over the course of this week. To RSL's U15s under Andrew May, who put together some of the most beautiful goals we've ever seen, including the side volley from Kevin Hernandez against this Valencia team in the loss. And to TFC's U15s as well. And credit to this Valencia U15 side. I said they set a level for everyone else to get to. And they show their touch of class with the honor guard for this Portland Timbers U15 side. And they prepare to receive their championship trophy here at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. After a 2-year hiatus, the Generation Adidas Cup is back, and back in style. David Goss and Bobby Warshaw with you. We'll go down to the field in just a moment with Kelly Glendenning to MC our award ceremony alongside Fred Lipka, the Vice President of Youth Development for MLS. It was about 10 years ago that Alfonso Mondello thought up this tournament, a way to test his young players across MLS, a way to push the youth game. And Fred said it at halftime, we've come in leaps and bounds over the last 10 years. Canada qualifying for the World Cup, U.S. qualifying, and let's go down to the field to Kelly Glendenning.
Portland and Valencia, congratulations on making it here. And also, congratulations and thank you to all the teams who participated this week in this tournament. It's great to have you all here in Texas. To kick off our awards ceremony, we're going to start with some individual awards. I'm joined here by Fred Lipka, who is the Vice President of Player Development and Technical Director for MLS Next. So first up, we're going to go with our U15 Generation Adidas Cup top scorer, David Oliveira of Flamengo. He had 7 goals this week. Congratulations, David, and thank you. Moving on now to our U15 Generation Adidas Cup Best Goalkeeper presented by Allstate, none other than Keenan Van Pelt of Portland Timbers. Congratulations, Keenan, and thank you. And finally, your U15 Generation Adidas Cup Most Valuable Player, Noah Santos, Portland Timbers. And now to receive your U15 Generation Adidas Cup Championship Trophy, Portland Timbers FC.
Congratulations. Appreciate, take your time.
Thank you to Kelly Glendenning and Fred Lipka. 3 well-deserved trophies, an unbelievable week of action, an unbelievable competition, and a last shout-out to the Timbers U17s for bringing the environment, for bringing the noise. This young man, Max Eisenberg, pressured the Valencia team into the opening goal, and Augie Holscher closed it out. The Portland Timbers, against the odds, go to the final, and they win the 2022 U15 Generation Adidas Cup.